a white woman of property standing in a Petersburg courthouse in 1858. 8 months pregnant, telling an all-white jury that she loved the man they're about to hang. A black man, her slave, shackled at the defense table, silent as stone, watching her throw away everything, her fortune, her name, her freedom, for a truth no one wants to hear. They laughed at her. Every single man in that courtroom laughed. 9 months earlier she'd owned him. She'd used him in secret, in darkness, for nothing but pleasure. But somewhere between the summer kitchen and the hurricane that trapped them alone together, something shifted. Something neither the law nor society nor even they themselves could control. This is the story of how desire became love, how love became defiance, and how Virginia made an example of them both. If these are the stories you need to hear, then subscribe right now. Hit that button so you don't miss the next one. Let's begin. Spring 1857, Ravenscroft Plantation sits on a bend of the Appomattox River, like a jewel in a crown of blood-red tobacco fields. The big house is handsome brick with black shutters that click in the wind. When the river floods, the road becomes impassable. You could scream for days and no one would come. Virginia Carrington, everyone calls her Jenny, has been a widow for 10 years. Her husband, the colonel, died at Veracruz in the Mexican War. He left her everything, 400 acres, 63 souls in bondage, and a will that reads like a curse and trust until a lawful white heir appears. She's 32 now, beautiful in a way that makes men nervous. Fox-like face, black hair pulled so tight it must hurt, mouth that can smile like springtime and curse like January. The slaves whisper that she rides through the quarters herself with a horsewhip when the overseer is drunk, which is often childless, alone, running out of time. In April, the overseer breaks his leg, falling down the cellar stairs after his 3rd bottle of corn whiskey. For 6 weeks, there's no white man on the property except an ancient clerk who can barely hold a pen. Jenny needs someone strong, someone who won't talk, someone who understands the unspoken rules of their world, or rather, someone who has no choice but to obey them. She chooses Solomon Reed. Everyone calls him Sol. The plantation blacksmith and carriage driver, 34 years old, 6'4", with hands scarred and calloused from years at the forge. He'd been bought in Richmond in '53 after he was caught teaching other slaves to write her. Crime that earned him 39 lashes and a sail downriver. There's something about Saul that drives Jenny to distraction. He never begs when she has him whipped for some invented infraction. He never cries out. That silence, that absolute impenetrable dignity, makes her furious, makes her feel something she doesn't have a name for, makes her want to break him the first night. She has him brought to the summer kitchen behind the big house after supper. It's a small brick building where they used to make preserves, with one door and high windows. She locks the door herself, lights one lantern, nothing more. She never fully undresses, never says his name, never looks at his face. She uses him the way a gentleman might use a hired woman in a Petersburg brothel, quickly, silently, with the absolute certainty of power. When it's finished, she has him whipped for disrespect and sent back to the quarters with fresh welts to explain his absence. This happens 3 times a week, then 4, then every night. Saul never fights, never speaks unless spoken to, but he never looks away either, and that's what gets under her skin worse than any resistance would. Those ICECOM seeing everything, judging nothing, make her feel exposed in ways that have nothing to do with the clothes she keeps on. May becomes June. The arrangement continues. Jenny tells herself it means nothing. He's property. This is her right. She's doing nothing wrong. Nothing that hasn't been done on every plantation in Virginia since the first ships arrived. But late at night, alone in the colonel's big 4-poster bed, she finds herself remembering the warmth of Saul's hands, the way he caught her when she stumbled in the darkness, the moment of gentleness he showed before she slapped him for the presumption. Something is changing. She can feel it like thunder before a storm. Heat makes people careless. Heat and loneliness and desperation. In July, a letter arrives from Richmond. The colonel's nephew, a weasel-faced lawyer named Bartholomew, is petitioning the probate court. He claims Jenny is barren, has failed in her marital duty to produce an heir, and therefore Ravenscroft should pass to him as the next male relation. She's being erased. After 10 years of running this place, keeping it profitable, managing every detail from tobacco prices to slave rations, she's about to lose everything because her womb stayed empty. That night, she drinks half a bottle of peach brandy and has Saul brought to her again. But this time, something breaks. When it's over, she cries ugly, furious, terrified tears that shake her whole body. She hasn't cried since the colonel died. She hasn't let herself feel anything but rage and control. Saul does something unthinkable. He reaches out and wipes her face with the coarse sleeve of his work shirt. She slaps him hard enough to leave a red mark across his cheek. Then she kisses the mark. Kisses him. Really kisses him. Not the brutal claiming kisses she's forced on him before, but something soft and desperate and real. Don't, he says quietly. Miss Jenny, don't do this. Why not? Her voice is ragged. What do I have to lose that they won't take anyway? Your life? They'll kill us both. I don't care. You will. But she doesn't stop. And after a moment, neither does he. August is a fever dream. The visits to the summer kitchen become nightly, then twice nightly. She starts leaving the lantern burning longer. She asks him questions about his life before Ravenscraft, about the family he was sold away from in Richmond, about the books he taught himself to read. He has a daughter somewhere, he tells her, 7 years old when they took him. Her name was Grace. I'd give anything to know if she's still alive, he says. Jenny doesn't promise to find out she can't, but she stops having him whipped. She tells the overseer Saul is under her direct supervision now for special projects. The overseer, drunk and lazy, doesn't question it. Late one night in the big house library room, Saul has been forbidden to enter his entire time at Ravenscraft. She teaches him to write his daughter's name in the plantation ledger. Grace read, when I find her, Saul says slowly, carefully, I'll write to her. I'll tell her I never forgot when. Jenny's voice catches. You mean, if you're freed? Yes, ma'am. They both know it's impossible. But in that moment, in candlelight with his rough hand holding a pen for the first time in 5 years, it feels almost real. September arrives with violence. A hurricane roars up from the Carolinas, one of those massive storms that reshape coastlines and rewrite maps. The Appomattox jumps its banks. Every bridge for 20 miles is swept away. Roads become rivers. The world shrinks to Ravenscraft alone. Most of the field hands huddle in the quarters. The cook locks herself in the attic, praying and weeping. The ancient clerk flees to his sister's house before the worst hits. For 4 days and nights, Jenny and Saul are alone in the big house. No more summer kitchen. No more pretending. In the colonel's bed, in the library among the forbidden books, on the wide front veranda, as the wind lashes the white columns and lightning turns the world silver, they are, for those 4 days, simply a man and a woman. No chains, no titles, no laws. On the last night, when the storm is finally breaking, Saul says something that will seal both their fates. If there is a child, you set me free. Swear it. Jenny laughs at first. The idea seems absurd, impossible, too dangerous to even consider. But Saul doesn't laugh. His face is serious, calm, and utterly certain. Swear it, Jenny, on something that matters to you. Because if you're carrying my child and you don't free me, that baby will be born a slave's bastard and torn away from both of us. Is that what you want? She thinks of the colonel's will, a lawful white heir. What heir could be lawful with a black father? She thinks of Bartholomew in Richmond, circling like a vulture. She thinks of Saul's daughter, Grace, sold away and forgotten. She gets her dead mother's Bible from the bedroom and swears on it, hand flat on the cracked leather cover. If there's a child, you're free. I swear it before God. He kisses her forehead. Then I'll pray there is. The waters recede, the world returns, and everything goes back to normal except for one small, terrifying fact. Jenny's monthly courses don't come. December 1857, the first frost covers. Ravenscraft and silver lace. Jenny stands before her mirror in the bedroom, unlaced corset in her hands, and stares at the truth she can no longer hide. She's pregnant 3 months, maybe 4. Her waist is thickening. Her breasts are tender, and every morning she vomits into the chamber pot until there's nothing left. Terror and joy war inside her. She's going to have a baby, the heir the colonel's will demanded, the child she thought she'd never carry. But it's Saul's child, a mixed-race baby in Virginia in 1857, born to a white woman of property and her enslaved lover. If she tries to pass the child off as white, she'll be caught in the lie eventually. If she tells the truth, the law will destroy them both. She remembers her oath. She takes out pen and paper and writes freedom papers in her own hand, in the formal legal language she's learned from managing the plantation. Know all men by these presents that I, Virginia Whitmore Carrington, widow and sole proprietor of Ravenscraft Plantation, do hereby manumit and set free Solomon Reed, aged 34 years, blacksmith, in consideration of faithful service and my own free will. She signs it, dates it, folds it carefully, and hides it in the family Bible between Psalms and Proverbs. She tells no one, not yet. She needs to wait until the baby is born, until she can present them both as a fait accompli. Mother and child and freed father. But secrets on a plantation are like smoke. They slip through every crack. By January, the whispers have reached Petersburg. The widow Carrington is too familiar with her blacksmith. She's been seen walking with him by the river. Someone's cousin's friend swears they saw them together through a window. And worst of all, the widow is with child, and no white man has courted her in years. Bartholomew Carrington arrives at Ravenscraft on a cold February morning with 2 lawyers, the county sheriff, and a wagon full of righteousness. Aunt Virginia, he says, though she's not really his aunt, just his late uncle's inconvenient widow. We've had reports, disturbing reports. For your own protection and the family's honor, we must investigate. She tries to refuse them entry. The sheriff pushes past her anyway. They search the house top to bottom like thieves. They find Saul's fingerprints on her silver hairbrush. They find a man's shirt under her bed, coarse Osnaburg weave, too large to be the colonel's. They find the servant's terrified testimony that Mr. Saul had been in the big house every night for months. And they see what can no longer be hidden: Jenny's belly, round and unmistakable at 5 months. Bartholomew's face goes purple with fury and triumph. You've degraded yourself beyond redemption, he hisses. You've lain with a Negro slave. You've committed miscegenation, the foulest crime against the white race. I love him, Jenny says simply, and he's free. I freed him months ago. She runs for the Bible, pulls out the folded paper with shaking hands. Bartholomew snatches it, reads it, and tears it in half. This is a forgery, obviously written by a deranged woman suffering from female hysteria brought on by unnatural lust. The clerk will testify it was never properly filed or witnessed. The clerk, who's been in Bartholomew's pocket for years, nods eagerly. The sheriff arrests Saul on the spot. The charge: criminal assault upon a white woman, a capital crime, mandatory death sentence. Saul doesn't fight. He looks at Jenny one last time, and his eyes say everything. I love you. Protect our child. Forgive me. Then the chains go on, iron cuffs around his wrists, iron collar around his neck, and they drag him away. Jenny screams. She actually screams, something she hasn't done since she was a child. She claws at the sheriff's face, kicks at Bartholomew, fights like a cornered animal. They restrain her, call for the doctor, diagnose her with acute nervous mania, and lock her in her own bedroom for her health and safety. The trial is set for April in Petersburg, 3 months away. 3 months for Jenny to sit alone in that locked room, belly growing, child kicking, while the man she loves waits in chains for a verdict everyone already knows. April 3rd, 1858. Petersburg Courthouse. Standing room only. They've come from Richmond, from Norfolk, from as far as Charlottesville, white families in their Sunday best, come to witness the spectacle of a fallen woman and the Negro who ruined her. Jenny sits in the front row in black silk that can't quite hide her 8-month belly. She's refused to stay home, refused to plead illness. If Saul is going to hang, she'll watch every moment of the trial that kills him. Saul stands at the defense table in chains. His lawyer, a nervous young man appointed by the court who clearly doesn't want to be here, has advised him to stay silent. The prosecution calls witness after witness. The overseer testifies that Saul had unusual access to the big house. A white doctor testifies that white women are susceptible to nervous derangement when widowed and isolated. A minister reads passages from the Bible about the separation of races. No one mentions love. No one mentions consent. In Virginia law, a white woman cannot legally consent to a black man. Her yes doesn't exist. Her desire doesn't exist. Only his crime exists. On the second day, Jenny demands to testify. The judge tries to refuse. Pregnant women aren't meant to take the stand. But she physically stands up in the courtroom and speaks anyway. It was willing, she says, voice clear and steady. Every single time. I wanted him. I pursued him. He tried to refuse me, and I ordered him to comply. Then her voice softens. Then we fell in love. Real love, the kind that doesn't care about law or race or property rights. The courtroom erupts. Men shout. Women gasp. The judge pounds his gavel until the handle cracks. Mrs. Carrington, the judge says coldly, you are clearly unwell. Your testimony is that of a diseased mind. Sit down before you further disgrace yourself. I freed him, she shouts. I wrote the papers myself in December. He's not a slave. He's the father of my child, and I love him. The all-male, all-white jury laughs. Actually laughs, as if she's told a joke. Bartholomew's lawyer stands. Your Honor, I submit that Mrs. Carrington is non-composed, mentally incompetent due to the corrupting influence of this defendant. I move that she'll be declared unfit to manage her property or her own affairs. So moved, the judge says immediately. Just like that, Jenny is legally insane. stripped of Ravenscraft, stripped of her inheritance, stripped of all rights to her own child. The jury deliberates for 11 minutes. Guilty, death by hanging, sentenced to be carried out in 1 week. Saul is led away. He doesn't look back. Jenny is physically carried from the courtroom screaming and taken back to Ravenscraft. Bartholomew has her bedroom door locked and barred from the outside. A nurse really a guard sits outside day and night. Asterisk she has 4 days until the hanging. 4 days to say goodbye to the man who's about to die because he loved her. She's not allowed to see him. Not allowed to write to him. Not even allowed at the execution. So she decides. If Virginia won't let her save him, she'll die with him. May 6, 1858, 2 nights before the scheduled execution. 3 o'clock in the morning. The guard outside Jenny's door is asleep, snoring. She's been saving her dinner laudanum for a week, adding it to the woman's evening tea. Jenny has traded her last valuable possession, the diamond brooch the colonel gave her on their wedding night, to a sympathetic kitchen girl. In exchange, a key ring stolen from the overseer's coat. She's 9 months pregnant, huge and ungainly, but desperation makes her quick. She picks the lock on her bedroom door, slips down the back stairs in her nightgown and bare feet, and steals a horse from the stable. The Petersburg jail is 6 miles away. She makes it in 45 minutes, horse lathered and blowing. The night guard is drunk. She holds up the key ring. Wrong jail. Wrong keys, but he's too soused to notice. And he waves her through. Saul is in the last cell. When he sees her, his face crumples. Jenny, no. What are you doing? Getting you out. There's nowhere to go. They'll hunt us down, then we'll die together instead of apart. That's still a choice. She has no key that fits his cell. So she uses the forge hammer she stole from the plantation blacksmith shop. Saul's own hammer, and beats the lock until it breaks. They run on foot now because the horse bolted due west toward the dismal swamp, a massive wetland on the Carolina border where escaped slaves have hidden for a century. If they can make it there, they might survive, might find the Maroon communities that live in the swamp's heart, might raise their child free. Asterisk they make it 12 miles through forest and darkness. Jenny's belly cramping with each step, Saul supporting half her weight. Dawn breaks pink and gold. They hear the dogs. Saul knows immediately. Bloodhounds. They'll be on us in minutes. Then we keep running. Jenny, he stops, turns her to face him. His hands are gentle on her swollen belly. You can't run anymore. You're about to give birth. If they catch us together, they'll kill you too, baby and all. But if I'm alone when they find me, no, listen to me. He's crying now, tears streaming down his face. Tell them I kidnapped you. Tell them I forced you. They'll believe that. They want to believe that. It'll save your life and the baby's. I won't let you die alone. I've been alone my whole life except for these few months with you. That's enough. That's more than most men get. He kisses her soft and final. Name him Solomon if it's a boy, and tell him his father loved his mother more than freedom. He shoves her hard into the reeds at the swamp's edge, into the black water that swallows her up to the waist. Then he turns and walks toward the dogs. The posse comes through the trees, 12 men, 20 dogs, rifles, and torches. They see Saul standing alone on the path, hands raised. Where is she? The sheriff shouts. Gone. I sent her away. You're lying. They open fire. 3 shots. Saul drops to his knees, then falls forward dead before he hits the ground. Jenny, hidden in the water, bites her hand until it bleeds to keep from screaming. They find her an hour later, unconscious from blood loss and shock. She's gone into labor. They drag her back to Ravenscraft in literal chains, iron cuffs on her wrists. The first time in Virginia history a white woman of property has been shackled, like a slave. December 14, 1858, the county poorhouse. Jenny gives birth on a straw mattress. No doctor, no midwife will touch her, just the poorhouse matron and another fallen woman who knows how to catch a baby. A boy, light brown skin, gray-green eyes, asterisk,